Anybody? Show of hands. Anybody eager and ready to tackle some mess? I see you, Ann. Okay. I know that's right, Queen. Good, Kale, good. All right, at least I know I got a couple people ready. That's all that matters. If I could just have a couple people ready for class, that works for me. So we're going to continue to talk about this. And like I said, we're going to spend as much time as we can discussing this, because I know that it is such, thank you, Eugene. I know that it is such a powerful topic. And I know that it is something that we can all benefit from. Okay? So, again, our topic at this time is seeking or looking for the message that is located inside of our mess. And so today we're going to discuss 5 ways to turn pain into purpose during difficult times. So again, the primary focus of this is to learn how to shift our energy, shift our negativity, our negative thoughts towards these situations that we have encountered in life. So today we're going to focus on 5 ways to turn our pain into purpose. So you guys are going to want to make sure that you have something to write with, so that way you can take some notes. Everything that we discuss during this topic is going to be something that you can take away from it. Hey, Mr. Good Vibes, welcome in. So there's going to be something that you can take away from it. And you know, that's exactly what any of our sessions should be. There's always, you know, a lesson in this that I want you guys to take from this. Give me just a second, you guys. Share the live for a few more people here. If you haven't already done so yet, please share the live with your friends. Go tell your friends to pull up on me, because we got a good topic for them today. A good topic today. Alrighty, so did everybody share the live? We good? Alright, I got that shared out now. Alright, so 5 ways to turn your pain into purpose. Again, 5 ways to turn your pain into purpose. Step 1, make sure you guys write this down. Step 1, look for the silver lining in the situation. Look for the silver lining in the situation. So when we're looking for the silver lining in a situation, we need to try to ask ourselves some very important questions. Such as, is it possible that you've been holding on to this painful thought the wrong way? Or what is the worst thing you ever went through? Or what if the worst thing that you ever went through was a blessing that you weren't meant to understand until much later? So what if this painful memory that we're holding on to was actually a blessing in disguise. A blessing that we weren't ready to understand. What if? Because I mean, we don't know, right? Hold on, guys. There we go. My bad. All right, so what if that's the case, right? Or if it's a painful memory that you can't forget, then maybe we should find a way to help others who are going through the same thing. And like I said, share our message, tell the story, right? Sometimes when we help other people, when we decide to spend time, helping someone else, that blesses us too, right? Because it gives us some sort of purpose. It gives us something to do. So we have to begin to look for the silver lining in the situation. A prime example that I can even give with this story, when I was pregnant and I miscarried my twins. And in that moment, when that happened, that was by far, it was 2018. And when I tell you guys, that was by far the most devastating, most painful thing that I had ever experienced. Good morning, camp. Rich Risings, love. So when I went through my miscarriage, that was, at that point in my life, the most devastating thing that I had ever experienced. And I felt like there was no coming back from that. I wasn't suicidal, but I wasn't fight for my life either. If that makes sense for you guys. And so in that moment, I found out, let me give you guys a little more detail into this. So I found out on Thanksgiving evening that I was pregnant. And I then found out on Christmas Eve that I had miscarried. And my body simply had not gone through the full process. And the doctor that I was seeing at the time, had medically given me advice to say, hey, there's things that your body has not completely done yet that we need to do. And, in that moment, I'm knee deep in my mess, you guys. So I'm like, no, you're lying to me. Like, at this point now, I'm completely delusional. Okay. So I'm like, you're lying. I go through the messy motions that come with such an event. And I leave the doctor's office. Thank you. And so I leave the doctor's office and I go home. Again, it's Christmas Eve. I go home. I sit from Christmas Eve to New Year's Eve. My body still has not gone through this full process of the miscarriage. And at this point, they are now worried about my health. And so, I'm dealing with my mess. And now at this point, my mom had intervened. Thank you. And so my mom intervenes and convinces me to go see my regular doctor, my regular OB doctor, not the specialist, who at the moment in my life felt like I was lying, right? So my mom gets me to go to my primary doctor, and I have this trust built with my primary doctor because she looks like me, right? So I go to my primary doctor, who very lovingly, very honestly goes through this whole process, she is aware that, you know what I'm saying? Like, she is aware that I have miscarried. But she takes the time and takes the concern to go through a full exam with me, does a complete ultrasound with me, and walks me through the process until it was something that I understood. Thank you, guys. Until it was something that I was able to understand. And she met me. Okay, my doctor understood what I was going through, and she met me in my mess. Okay, so she didn't simply try to pull me out of my mess, because she comprehended the understanding of it. Thank you. She met me in my mess. Are you guys getting that? She met me there, and she talked me through my mess. So much so that I was now able to understand the message, which was that this pregnancy has ended, okay? And I spent days angry with the universe, okay? First time in my life that I had utterly been angry with the universe. And, you know, my doctor, she walks me through the process, and she's like, listen, you could, you know, there's two options that they give you. She said, you know, you could take this pill, go home, let it happen, understanding that if this doesn't fully, you know, you got to come back. She was like, but I don't want that for you, because of course we understand that that's messy. Okay, so she said, I would much rather you do this. And I told her, you know, as I'm coming out of my mess now, you guys, I told her that I don't want to take this into next year. I'm willing to now let this go, right? So now I understand, after having this conversation with this woman who came to me in my mess, now I understand that I have a mess on my hands, you guys, and I'm ready to get out of this. But I, at this point, don't want to take this mess into the new year. But remember, guys, I told you it's actually, at this point, it's the 30th of December. But I'm like, I don't want to take this into next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've carried this mess long enough now, so I don't want to take this into next year. And like, at this point, I'm like, let's deal with this. So she's like, you know what? She's like, be at the hospital 5:00 tomorrow morning. We'll take care of it. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, I am not even on anybody's schedule, honey. My doctor is like, be at the doctor 5 a.m. You know, you gotta, we'll get it done. And, you know, in between my doctor delivering miracles into this world, she was able to help me deal with this mess that I had been carrying. And I don't want anyone to be triggered when I'm saying or referring to my miscarriage as a mess that I was carrying, because at that point, what was done had been done, okay? You know, even though I couldn't understand why, you know, because in that moment I felt like the universe was telling me I didn't deserve to be a mom. And so at this point now, I have curated all of these messy thoughts into my mind. And so I can refer to this situation as a mess in my life. And so I have the surgery on, at this point now, New Year's Eve. It's the 31st of December. I have this surgery. You know, the miscarriage is now completed, okay? And during this time, you guys, when I decided, you know, to put my trust to, you know what I'm saying? Because I knew my doctor, and so I could trust her. So when I put my trust back into her, you know, and was able to have this surgery, during this time, you guys, I'm under anesthesia in this surgery or whatever, I have this dream. And in this dream, now the primary source that I had been so frustrated with while I sat inside of my mess was the universe, was God. And in my dream, God came to me and said, it is okay. You have to let them go. And, at this point, I am holding my children behind my back. And I'm like, no, and I am fighting it. Like, no, not doing this. I don't want to. Tell me why. You know what I'm saying? And the thing that he kept telling me was, it's not on my time. It is, you asked me to show you that you were a woman. Because the whole time that I prayed to get pregnant, I wanted to be pregnant because I felt like I was less than a woman. And the universe revealed to me that you asked me to show you that you were a woman, because in your mind you thought being a woman was conceiving a child, getting pregnant. I did that. I gave you exactly what you asked for. And I also want to reveal to you that you're still a woman, even not conceiving this child. So this is not what I have for you. And there's something more that I have in store for you. And ultimately, during this very intense conversation that I'm having, it is revealed to me and it is put on my heart, this isn't how this is supposed to be. And I'm not talking about the loss of my twins. I'm talking about me bringing them into the world that I was in. The father of my twins was abusive, mentally, and that grew to physically as well, you guys. So my children would have been brought into a world that was messy. And I'm not saying that I couldn't have cleaned things up along the way, but in that moment, I had more mess than I even realized. And so, again, during this time, I have now released my children. Okay? I have released them both physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I have released them. And in that moment, it was also when I forgave the universe for what I thought happened to me. In the moment that I realized that this situation is happening for me. And so I release them. The surgery goes well. When I wake up, my doctor is still right there. And she said to me that was one of the most emotional procedures that she has done, even though she has done them numerous times. She said there were several times that they had to stop during my surgery because it appeared that I was waking up. And they said that I cried during the surgery, and then they noticed a release for me during my surgery. And she said it moved everyone in there. And so, hearing that, knowing what I went through during the surgery, and then hearing that come from her mouth after the surgery was confirmation for me that this right here is happening for me. And it wasn't until that moment, I was able to see the message in my mess that, I was still a woman. I'm now like more women than I think, right? Because miscarriages happen all the time, especially in our community. Unfortunately, we don't all get the care that we need. And so I had to unpack, you guys, so much of my mess. And thankfully, I had my doctor and my mom and my support system of women who have come before me, who have been through it, who surrounded me and supported me. Okay? So, in that situation, I was guided through this process. I didn't even realize it, but I was guided through this process of womanhood, unfortunately, of motherhood. And so for me, I felt like, okay, I'm better. But at the same time, like, it wasn't until I began to share this story with others that I truly, truly, truly understood what it was. It wasn't until I began joining and creating communities, sharing my story, that I began to really, truly bless people. And began to feel fulfilled even more for myself. And, because that was a major thing for me, I also decided to have that message tattooed on me. And so on my back, there's it's God's hands surrounding me. And my twins are on my back. So like, I have baby angels on both sides, and then God's hands surrounding me, protecting us, embracing us. And that message is something that sticks with me forever. But it's not a mess, meaning ongoing. The mess is not still happening for me. I am able to tell that story without tears, without pain, without frustration, because I got the message in my mess. And I understand the message, and that is a message that I wanted to carry on my back for the rest of my life, but not in a negative, sad, hurtful, depressing way. It is something that I wanted to carry with me because, yeah, Kim, I'm ultimately at peace with it. I am. I'm ultimately at peace with it because that was another day that my life truly began, that I began to see things from a different perspective. So, I mean, again, that is a very long testimony for you guys to understand. Sometimes you got to be willing to see the silver lining in your situation. The second thing for you guys to write down is to, when you're trying to turn your pain into your power, is to get your feelings out on paper. Journaling. Okay? You got to start to write it down. Sometimes you got to get it out. And so you have to take some time to reflect on the painful events. And you need to get yourself a notebook or a journal. And you guys need to really start to write down as many of these memories as you can. As many of the details and the memories from the situations that are still in your mind, things that you're still carrying, write down whatever comes to mind. It does not have to make sense. You don't have to worry about punctuation. Who cares about complete sentences? You write until you have nothing more to write. Some people ask, how long do I write? Until you have nothing more to write about. Because you want to get it out. You write whatever comes to mind. Don't worry about the order of it. Don't, you know what I'm saying? You can always go back later and sort through the mess if you'd like to. But you want to let the contents of your heart and your mind be free to flow on the pages, free of judgment and free of fear. And You're right, Cam. Cam says that sometimes we have to set things down because they're just too heavy to carry. And you're absolutely correct. Sometimes we have to just let them go. That's when they say let go and let God, right? And so, getting your thoughts out on paper help you to make sense of how you're feeling. Sometimes we're carrying this mess around because we don't even know how we feel about it. So we just keep carrying it around. But once you're able to reflect on it and you're able to start to sort through, start to unpack this mess, it will help you to understand how you're actually feeling about it. So you can then begin to reflect on the themes or the repeating patterns that, surround this. So that way you can learn how to observe how you're feeling about the situation. Because as we know, our feelings are valid, right? And sometimes in these messy situations, we have now invalidated ourselves because we have suppressed these feelings. We have suppressed these emotions so much so that we have now muted ourselves. We have now muted our feelings. We have not given ourselves the opportunity nor the time to feel how we need to feel. Some of these situations happen to us during childhood. And at that point, we don't even know how to feel, right? We don't necessarily know what we're supposed to feel. So, now we've muted ourselves and we've put ourselves in a position to not be heard. And so it's time for us to begin to observe how we feel about these situations. We need to be able to process these situations. You're right. Many of us come from the generation of, don't cry, or I'll give you something to cry for, right? So we've gone through these things and we haven't shed a tear. And now we just keep carrying it. And we've conditioned ourselves enough to not be emotional because we grew up thinking that being emotional was a problem. Our poor boys, our poor men grew up in a generation where boys don't cry. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they can. And yeah, they should, But I think that, our ancestors meant well. There was a beautiful message in what they tried to teach us. I just feel like the things that they tried to teach us got lost in translation. So now we have to spend some time, sorting through some stuff. But but yeah, so you guys need to spend some time getting your feelings out on paper. Start processing. Start unpacking. Number 3 on our list of 5 ways to turn our pain into purpose and our pain into power, we're going to begin to shift our anger into forgiveness. And I know that is a very difficult thing to do. To forgive someone who has wronged you. To forgive the universe for situations that have occurred, right? But to forgive someone doesn't mean you're letting the person off the hook. Your forgiveness has less to do with them and more to do with you. It doesn't mean that you're saying what they did was okay. Because it was not okay. What they did to you, what they said to you, what they took from you was not theirs for the taking. And it was not okay. I'm going to say that for you guys again. What they did to you was not okay. What they took from you was not okay. Just understand that The forgiveness is for you to move on. Forgiveness is for you to begin to heal. To forgive someone means letting go of the anger that you are carrying. It helps you think of your heart like a closet, and the closet can only hold so much, you guys. And if we continue to pile all of this anger and frustration inside of us, it is going to leave your heart closet full of bitterness, full of anger, frustration. And if you pack all of these angry, frustrating, bitter thoughts away, then you don't have room for the good things. And so now that you're carrying this closet of hatred, and years have gone by, and you've never unpacked this darkness that's inside of your heart, from a situation that was not your fault, from a situation that you did not deserve, right? Now you're carrying all of these feelings around. And even though the universe has now given you very healthy and loving relationships thereafter, you are still carrying around this anger and bitterness towards what happened then. And you are not able to move forward. You are not able, and now you're stuck blaming the next person for the previous people's mistakes in life. And so you have to begin to shift your anger into forgiveness, so that way you can start to empty out the closet of negativity that you're carrying. So that way you can begin to make room in your heart to love yourself again, and to love others who are now here to ultimately bless you and to love you in a healthy way. So again, start to shift this anger, start to unpack it, and start to forgive the person, the human, right? Each and every one of us fall short, and each and every one of us make mistakes. And I know that there are some situations that seem more weighted than others for the mistakes that people have carried. But we have to begin forgiving them for not knowing better. Even though they should have, right? Even though they should have known better. But we have to forgive them for not knowing better. Hey, best friend. I see you. All right, so number 4 on our list is we have to begin to gain perspective. We have to understand that bad things happen to good people all the time. And you can choose to allow it to consume you, or you can choose to turn your pain into power. You can choose to turn that painful situation into an experience that fuels your purpose going forward. So if you were bullied or assaulted as a child, if you lost a parent at a young age, if you've ever felt invisible growing up as a teenager, people suffering from chronic illnesses, you know, all of these things, right? All of the suffering that you've endured during your life, you've survived. One of the things that I say all the time is that to date, we have 100% survived everything that we've gone through. Looking back at all of those situations that we thought we never would have made it through, we're still here. So for all of those people who thought that they were taking something from me, for all of the people in life who mistreated me, violated me, thought that they were breaking me, right? I'm still here. I am thriving. I am glowing. I am growing. So they might have slowed me down, right? But they didn't stop me. They might have derailed my train a little bit, but this train is still moving. And so because I've began to gain perspective, because I've stepped outside of my situation and began to see it differently, and because I took their power away by talking about it, right? Because we talked about that. I began to share my story, which took the power away from them. I began to share with people who hurt me. They wanted me to say their name. Yep. So I said that. I said, this is who hurt me, and this is what they did. I began to expose that. So at that point, they couldn't hide anymore. They lost their power. They became less of a threat, right? And so the more you begin to reach out with your wisdom, your experience, and your courage, the more you will heal. And so now, instead of resenting the situations that have happened to me, I am at a point in my life where I am now at peace with these situations. And it is because I unpacked and because I began to, look into my mess. One way that you can gain perspective is by beginning to practice gratitude. When you begin to adopt this attitude of gratitude, it becomes a little easier for you to get through difficult situations because you're able to still see the beauty in the world. It is harder to get through life when it's difficult if all you see is the negativity. So as hard as it can be, you've got to try to make a habit of recognizing, 5 beautiful things each day. So what? You're not living in the house of your dreams. You woke up and you had a roof over your head. When you served dinner, it wasn't the steak you desired, but you were able to eat a meal. Right? Sometimes we go to jobs and we don't hold positions that we desire, but we still are able to pay our bills. Right? So we have to start to shift those things. And find things that we can be grateful for now. And you want to try to be as specific as possible. Write down these things in this journal, right? This journal that we're carrying, we're going to begin to also write down things that we're grateful for. You're right. There's always something to be thankful for. So, starting your day with an attitude of gratitude is the quickest and easiest way to begin to shift your mindset. And then number 5, the last thing on the list that I have for you guys this morning. One of the biggest things that we have to do when we're unpacking our mess. We have to be willing to give support, and we have to be willing to go get support. There might be somebody who's already in your life who's losing hope in the same manner that you did. There's always somebody else in life that's going through the same situation. And so you might be able to help them in ways that you never would have imagined. Just by showing them sometimes the compassion that you desired. Maybe nobody showed you that love and compassion when you went through your mess. But that doesn't mean you close yourself off and you're not willing to give that to the next person. So, maybe you can be the light for someone else in their darkness. That person who needs your experience to help them through something that's tearing them apart. That person could be right in front of you and you don't know it. Maybe you just never noticed because you were so busy dealing with your own mess. And you might be the answer to somebody else's prayer. So when you're dealing with your mess, the main thing that I tell you guys is to remember to join support communities, right? Find communities. Find your village. Find people that you can connect with. Because it may be you telling your story, or it might be you showing up and hearing theirs. Because support is a two-way street, but it's not always apples to apples, you guys. I might tell my story to this person, and that person might not be meant to reciprocate that blessing to me. It could be the person next to them who is meant to do something that blesses me. You got to trust the process. So again, connecting with others within your community, your church, online support groups, those are the type of things that help you transform your pain into purpose. Because in those situations, it allows you to focus outside of yourself. And then in that giving and getting support, under that umbrella is also where we go for therapy. Where we go to get counseling and coaching. We have to seek help, you guys. Many of these things in these situations we have been dealing with on our own for years. And we haven't been dealing with it in the best of ways. So now it's time for us to seek professional help. Seek support groups. So that way we can make sure that we are addressing our mess in a manner that allows us to begin to heal. I promise you guys that turning your pain into purpose is one of the most powerful healing practices that you can ever commit yourself to. Sometimes all it takes to save somebody from a situation or a period of hopelessness is another person's story of survival. So let's begin to heal together. We are entertained together. We come together and we laugh and we joke about things. We come together to watch, TV shows together. We have, whole watch parties. We have book clubs. We have craft groups. We have all of these things together. Let's start to heal together, you guys. Let's make sure that in all of these communities that we join and all of these hobbies that we have, let's make sure we also have a space of healing. Because, ultimately, we all deserve the relief that comes with healing. And healing is going to be an ongoing thing. It is not something, unfortunately, you guys, I can't just push a button and whoo, you are healed. No. Because there is always something else to unpack. There is something else to tackle that goes along with that. It is healing. It is going to forever be an ongoing thing. But again, by taking the time to seek the message within your mess is a start. And then that test that we went through becomes our testimony. That trail that we have traveled, that trail of heartbreak and pain and destruction, now becomes our triumph. And now, because we are on this journey together of healing, we stop feeling like a victim. And we begin to recognize how victorious we are. We began to recognize that we were stronger than the storm. As my sister says, life hurts, but love helps. And so we have to begin to heal together. We have to continue to show up in safe spaces. We have to continue to create safe spaces. And we have to start to unpack our mess. And we honestly have to forgive. Forgive ourselves. Forgive others. For some of us, forgive the universe. And understand that all of these things that happened did not happen to us. It is happening for us. It is happening to grow us into the next phase, the next stage of our life. Everything changes once you can look back on the most difficult period of your life and feel gratitude instead of bitterness, because you have finally understood that it was all part of a bigger plan. We eventually start to realize, as difficult as the time was, that situation was the catalyst to push us farther and closer towards our purpose in life. When we're able to turn our pain into purpose, we melt away all of the anger and all of the resentment. And we begin replacing that with joy and a renewed love of life. So, let's heal, you guys, okay? Let's work together to peel back some of these layers and let's heal. Let's continue to grow through the things that we are going through. And let's turn our pain into our power, because there is purpose in our power. Can I get some green hearts in the chat if you received this message today? Green hearts in the chat if you took away something, some message, something during this live has touched you. Okay. I always say if two or more agree. And I got 3, okay? So, as always, I absolutely, positively love you guys. I thank you guys for being here. Before we head out, we're, of course, going to do our 5-minute breathing exercise. I know that we talked about a lot of situations, and You know, some of the things as we're dealing with this mess, you guys, some of it is going to trigger us. All right. But it is time that we start to address these triggers. Amen, sister. Amen. So we have to prepare ourselves. And it's okay, you know, during this messy conversation that we're having, it's okay if you find yourself emotional, right? Whether it's a story that you hear me discuss, if we have a panel and someone else is discussing something painful, it is okay if you have to step away. Just come back. All of these live streams are being uploaded to YouTube. So if you missed the beginning of our conversation yesterday, you can go to my YouTube. It is still LifeCoach614. You can find me there. You can go back and watch the beginning. Later today, this one will be uploaded. So I want you guys to understand that sometimes when we're unpacking our messes, we need to step away because we need time to also process how we feel about this. But again, make sure you come back. Okay? If this is too much for you first thing in the morning, then I need you to catch that replay in the evening. I don't want you to block your blessing because you're not ready. We're going to do our 5-minute breathing exercise because I need for us to now ground ourselves back. I need for us to bring ourselves back to this present moment here and now. And so I am going to, today I'm going to give you guys a guided meditation.
Hey there, thanks for gifting yourself these next few minutes. It's important to remember that you're a priority, and allowing yourself even just a few short minutes of intentional reflection can really have a positive impact on the rest of your day. So let's use these next few minutes to come back to center and set an intention for the rest of your day. Move into a comfortable position, whether you're seated at your desk at work or laying on the couch at home, and gently close your eyes and shift all of your attention onto your breathing, taking slower, deeper breaths than you've taken all day so far. Taking a deep breath in through your nose and slowly letting it out through your mouth. And continuing to breathe that way, feeling your lungs expand out as you inhale and contract back in as you exhale. Tune into your body, noticing how it feels. Noticing if there's anything that it's trying to tell you. Notice any place of tension or tightness in your body. And give those areas permission to relax, sending love into those areas. Thank your body for taking such good care of you, and let it know that it's okay to rest and relax for these next few minutes. You may notice that your mind starts to wander off. That's okay. That's natural. Just notice it and bring your attention back to your body, using your breath as your anchor. Try to picture one thing that's happened today that's made you smile, or made you thankful or appreciative. And just let that feeling fill you up for a moment. Breathe that feeling in from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And allow yourself to smile if that feels natural. Now focus on something that you can do today, whether it's for yourself or for someone else, that will allow you to continue feeling this way. It could be something as small as deciding to go to bed early tonight, so that you have time to finally read that book that's been on your bedside table. Or the joy of getting dinner with a close friend. What's one little thing you can plan for your day to bring that intentional joy to it? Now just focus on that for a few minutes. sit in that feeling of joy and peace. Let's take a few more deep breaths together. A deep breath in, feeling your lungs expand out as you inhale, and everything contract back in as you exhale. Again, an even deeper breath than the one before it, holding that breath for a beat, and exhaling everything out. Last time, your deepest breath yet, sending that breath through your entire body. And exhale it out. And in your own time, slowly bring your awareness back to where you are. And thank yourself for taking these few minutes to just be intentional and kind to yourself. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and enjoy the rest of your day.
Guys, so that was a 5-minute meditation. You can find them on YouTube. There are always some sort of guided meditation to help you ground yourself. So I know that you guys are used to some of the 5-minute breathing exercises that we do. But again, there are guided meditations for those of you who are not yet comfortable with meditating on your own. That you can download. You can also find them on Spotify, Amazon Music, things like that. So we don't have an excuse anymore not to meditate and to do things to help ground ourselves. So yeah, thank you guys as always for being here with me. I always say that you guys could have been anywhere in the world this morning, but you woke up and chose to hang out with me, and that means a lot to me. Thank you guys for your gifts, but more importantly, I appreciate and I thank you guys for your presence, being here in my space. I am absolutely positively filled with gratitude each and every day. I push this button and I see, many of your faces day after day. So I do not want to take that for granted. Because time is the most valuable thing that we have. And the fact that you guys share yours with me over and over again fills me with so much joy. So I hope that there is something that you are able to take away from our morning positivity sessions. If you feel like you are struggling in a particular area, feel free to share with me. There are plenty of topics that we could be discussing. If you feel like you have something to share with the group and you would like to join one of our panels, I am here for it. Let me know. We will get you out here to have the opportunity to share your story as well. We are no longer suffering in silence, you guys. We are healing together. All right? So I hope you guys have an amazing Friday. I will see you guys back Monday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another Positivity on Purpose. So go be amazing. Happy Friday. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you.